Biden announced new rules mandating that federal employees and contractors must be vaccinated. According to the New York Times, employees will have a 75-day ramp up to get vaccinated or undergo a human resources process, which I hope is not like the human resources process I had to go through after I slashed Tommy's tires, because it was terrible. There's a lot of mediation. She is a writer on That Damn Michael Che, the host of the Find Your Beach podcast, and she has a new hour stand-up special, Whiskey Fists, which is out now on Comedy Central Digital and their YouTube. Please welcome Rosebud Baker. Rosebud, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's get into it. What a week. This week, the news went all in on grafting political winners and losers onto the ongoing COVID crisis, or as The Atlantic put it, in their headline, How Delta Beat Biden. Politico also joined in, declaring that the Delta variant bottlenecked Biden's presidency. I really think we should not be talking about public health crises without turning it into a Clint Eastwood movie. You know, like,
yes,
one ancient man can't save the world. I saw The Mule, all right? It doesn't work. There are 2 threesomes in that movie, all right? Because it's a fantasy. I want you to know something, Rosebud. I haven't seen The Mule.
I was going to go ahead. I was like, do I fake this or do I pretend like I know what's going on?
Who saw The Mule? Did you see The Mule?
No one.
Wikipedia.
We think Wikipedia saw The Mule. The point is, everybody, The Mule, streaming now. Here's what was frustrating about these stories. On some level, the news is like, yeah, it's like, you know, who, what, when, where, those sorts of things. But then there's why, right? Like, why is important. And like,
You can't give this much responsibility, even if you were going to hand this over to the president. Like, he's not God, you know, like he's one man.
well, you know, we have this like dumb part of our politics, which is like, when the economy is good, the president's poll numbers go up, and when the economy is bad, the polls numbers go down, and it's not connected to what that person did or did not do in the job. And one would hope that smart reporters trying to help the country understand what is going on in this crisis would not say bad thing happens, therefore bad for Biden, and help people understand the things that they're doing that are working, the things they're doing that aren't working, because what matters is their agency and actual causal relationship to the events as they unfold. But when the stories are all bad thing, bad for Biden, the stories themselves describing the politics become the means by which the events are bad for Biden, because the only way they're being described is in the context of the political effect it has on Biden. It's an Ouroboros.
That's the importance of media or of journalists remaining objective, is that people are by and large very stupid, you know, just all of us. And we sort of form our opinions based off of what we're reading. So if the thing that we're reading is giving us an opinion, we'll take it, you know, we'll just be like, okay, that's what I think, you know. It's like, I run into this as a comic a lot because people will hear a joke and think it's my opinion. And it's like, no, I'm not telling a story or making a plan up here. I'm just.
It's also like, oh, Delta's hurting Biden. Like, what about us?
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do my live shows. That stinks.
I know. I feel like if we're trying to get people on board with the vaccination thing, it's like, obviously they're not buying the science thing. So let's just go with the free market. You know, like if we're trying to get Republicans on our side here, let's talk about making money, you know?
Yeah. What about making money? And I just want to remind everybody, you can go to crooked.com/events to buy tickets for our vaccinated only November 12th show at the Beacon Theater in New York. Got a great show planned. We got a big, great show planned for everybody. We hope you check it out. Crooked.com/events. Also, in the Atlantic, Celine R. Grounder, who is a epidemiologist in, I think, NYU. I don't know, some bigwig epidemiologist. She says she was confounded by the Biden administration's offer of booster shots, while on Thursday, the heads of the CDC and the FDA asked the White House to scale back the offer of boosters entirely. I find it very frustrating that there are public health officials being like, why are all these people hungering for boosters? I hope it has nothing to do with the fact that we terrified them about breakthrough infections and the transmissibility amongst vaccinated populations and the waning effective immunity and the fact that they couldn't get back to their normal lives for months while making it incredibly easy to get booster shots by walking into a Rite Aid and saying, "Hi, I'd like a booster shot. I have a very bad immune system. Help me." I think it's horse shit. That's what I think. I don't people want boosters. You made people want boosters. What's the worst that could happen? You get too much immunity?
I know. And then now they're saying that I read something else today that was if you've had a breakthrough infection and you had COVID, you have superhuman immunity, which is a weird way to phrase that because you already caught it after 2 vaccines. So it's...
I think it seems cool.
I would say it's barely superhuman, but...
This reminds me of a completely unrelated, very funny thing my partner Ronan once said as a pickup line, which is, "I got bitten by a radioactive hot guy. Now I'm horny all the time."
Oh, that's
Does
poetic.
that feel relevant? I don't think so. Brian, what do you add? It's fine. It's fine. We leave it in? Yeah, we'll leave it in. Oh, also on Thursday, Biden announced new rules mandating that federal employees and contractors must be vaccinated. According to the New York Times, employees will have a 75-day ramp up to get vaccinated or undergo a human resources process, which I hope is not like the human resources process I had to go through after I slashed Tommy's tires, because it was terrible. There's a lot of mediation, you know? You have to start by saying, "I feel."
I feel like Tommy asked for it.
I feel like those tires were too inflated for somebody I was furious at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't slash his tires.
It's a good story, though. I wanted to believe it.
Biden also called on the Department of Labor to require all companies with more than 100 employees to mandate vaccinations for their workers or institute weekly COVID tests while providing paid time off, a move that will affect 80 million private sector workers. I am honestly terrified what the anti-vaxxers are going to eat in response to this.
I know. This is a horrifying... I will say, though, they do have good supplements. I've taken a lot of supplements based off of what they've hawked. It's weird. There's a weird crossover between the Southern California yoga community and the anti-vax, QAnon worlds. I don't know. They're really commingling at this point.
It is the horseshoe thing. They're on the other, they meet on the other, the far left hippy dippy, no vaccines for my kids part of the cycle, part of the curve meets the pickup truck that's never seen dirt. No vaccines for my family part of it. Those meet.
Yeah,
it's
the circle of life. This is what the Lion King was talking about.
This is what it was talking about. Also announced in Biden's address, the TSA will be doubling fines for passengers who refuse to wear masks in airline terminals. But there's still the loophole of eating and drinking, which is why everybody at the airport or on airplanes is eating and drinking so slowly. They turn every Caesar wrap into this tantric sexual food journey where they never want to reach completion. They just eat little tiny bits and take little tiny sips for hours of a flight. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how people were making these Cheez-Its last.
It's really shameful because there's something shameful about eating on a plane as it is, just eating on a plane, but to cover your mouth up afterwards like you're vaping in public it's so embarrassing.
Calls about ivermectin poisoning have gone up 163% since 2020, according to the American Association of Poison Control Centers. And boy, those people can party. Want to go to that conference? It's pretty great. If you think ivermectin is popular now, just wait until the fall when they introduce pumpkin spice ivermectin.
Oh, God. Yuck.
Pumpkin spice ivermectin.
That joke has been poisoned. That joke is poison.
Dumb girl summer. I don't know.
I love it.
Is that allowed? I don't think that's allowed.
I loved that. I really love a bad. I love just a bad joke. There's something so good.
Well, then I have good news for you because we're only halfway done. Speaking of madness, the QAnon shaman has pleaded guilty to felony obstruction of justice for his role in the January 6th riot. His lawyers compared Trump to his, quote, first love. Well, you know what they say. That's Cumore.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, no.
When Epstein didn't kill himself, like a big pizza pie. When Hillary Clinton took adrenochrome from the bodies of children like a big pizza pie, that's Cumore. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I love it. That's great. That actually sounds like the QAnon shaman's music. That sounds like his cover.
Yeah. He's got an album coming out. This is all part of his promotional tour.
Oh, of course.
He'll be on Dancing with the Stars.
I hope
He'll be partnered with, it'll happen. In lighter news, First Lady Jill Biden has started the semester teaching a writing course at Northern Virginia Community College, where she tells the students to call her Dr. B, but I've already embarrassed myself by calling her mom. It already happened. So I'm never going to have friends at school. I also just want you to know something, Rosebud, which is that our producer, Ari, is sitting like 2 feet down and to the right. They have a mask on, and I can't see what the reaction is to any of this. So it's just a frozen face as I make these horrible jokes. And I guess we'll a thumbs up. I'm getting a thumbs up.
Okay, good. It's difficult. That's sort of, I mean, you're basically doing a live show right now. Masked audiences that's all you're getting anyway.
Fuck. I'm looking forward to my masked live audience. I don't care.
Oh.
As long as they're there, you know? As long as they can do this.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah.
Speaking of great art, wow. What a transition. Amazon Prime released the Camila Cabello Cinderella this week. The jukebox musical, which also stars Pierce Brosnan, Billy Porter, Idina Menzel, Minnie Driver, and James Corden, portrays Cinderella as an aspiring small business owner uninterested in love or marriage. Say what you will about the premise, Billy Porter is supposed to be great as the fairy god investor. Wow.
Jeez. I feel like this movie really hit a speed bump when James Corden decided to stop all LA traffic doing a flash mob.
I support that.
And I didn't mean to say speed bump. I did not mean to do the pun, but I'll keep it, you know.
Rona and I watched Cinderella, the story of a aspiring dressmaker who just wants the seed money she needs to get her business in this town. I cannot believe this movie exists.
Is that the real plot?
It's hard really to say. Because it's a jukebox musical. So you have to really decide how much of the lyrics you're applying to the world as it's happening and how, like, you know, they do dance to Rhythm Nation at the top for quite some time, which is deeply off-putting. And a lot of the townsfolk are drawn into song and dance about some very insignificant problems among the richest people in their community. It's deeply upsetting. The other thing I would say, and again, there's plenty of other complaints on the internet. You can read them for yourself. One thing that I don't think has been touched on enough is the mice that become people, one of whom is, as you mentioned, James Corden. They really like being people. They enjoyed it a great deal, the freedom and the opportunities that being human provided them ever so briefly. And they don't address the fact that they are then once again mice. The problem being they are mice that are just as smart and capable as people. They have human minds in their mice bodies, but are now once again relegated to a box in a basement. They've recently had actual jobs, enjoyed being in the free world.
They take what cards they're dealt with no problem. They just say, I'm just going to live in this mouse body.
Yeah, they're cool with the mouse body.
Yeah. You know,
they're cool with it. They do scream when they become mice again, though. I will say that. They scream. They scream in terror when they become mice again. And I'll be thinking about that for a while. Also, briefly, James Corden only half converts back to a mouse. And so you have that image.
What do you mean? I mean, so what does he have, like a human head?
You bet. Human head, mouse body. Yeah.
No.
It's great. It's actually a good part of the movie.
Wow.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, the point is, Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Amazon Prime's Cinderella. Some of your favorite stars get together and make a musical about how the most important thing a rich kid can do is have no responsibilities. That's really the goal for him as the prince. And if you're in a broken, fucked up society in which women aren't allowed to do anything they want, your personal aspiration to be the one in a millionth who actually achieves great things, that is more important than stopping the structural and systemic issues plaguing your world. You need to get your business. It is good to be special enough to overcome vast inequality. It is not necessary to create systems in which people don't need to be incredible, special, unique, and the two most beautiful human beings in literally the planet of this universe to achieve great things. That actually good things are only for the precious few. And I think that's like a really important message that comes from this jukebox musical.
I can't wait to see it. I mean, I was thinking, do I really want to go there? And I did choose the 9/11 documentary over that. But
one other thing, the lip syncs are bad. I don't know. How much was this? The lip syncs are bad. There's no room tone. It sounds like a studio version. We're supposed to be in space here.
If you were to compare it to Cats, which I think James Corden was also in, right?
Yes. Yes. He's the monkey's paw. You know, he is the thing that ties these things together. I actually haven't seen Cats all the way through, nor have I seen Cinderella all the way through. We had to start fast forwarding because it was the only way to get through it. And I had to get to Billy Porter because he is wonderful and he's great in it. But I think they're probably very similar experiences, though at least Cats knows that what they've made. I mean, Cats exists to be a coke-addled fucking 1970s Andrew Lloyd Webber storyless monstrosity. Like, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Crazy that they were able to take Cinderella and turn it into, I mean, it is sort of a fever dream on its own, but to turn it into a story about getting your business off the ground is really psychotic.
Here's the other thing. Whenever they do these adaptations, they always have Cinderella and the prince meet before the ball. I think for good reasons, instinctively, because then it's about their chemistry. They have a rapport. You have to understand, this prince has never met a woman he was found entertaining. 0. He's 0 for 10. And she makes a joke, and he did hear it. And once he's seen a woman made a joke, that's it. She's the only woman he's ever seen make a joke in the kingdom, so he's hooked.
Which is, we all know, unrealistic because men hate funny women. But go ahead.
Very good point. Very good point. What's always so funny now is once the prince meets Cinderella before the ball, then when she's at the ball in her pretty dress, what's going to happen when the clock strikes midnight? She's still going to be as pretty as Camila Cabello, but just in a slightly more plain dress. Right. If she, like, the mice are outside, they'll be fine. The horse will turn into a pumpkin again. Just stay at the ball in your uglier dress. Why are we running out of this thing? Do you think that the prince gives a fuck about the dress? Have you met a man? She's very pretty. Yeah. He'll be fine.
I'm wondering if maybe they should have brought in like a smell element to it, you know, where it's like you find out that not only does her dress change, which who cares about that, but she does start to smell like
human shit. At the stroke of midnight, Billy Porter says, not only will you lose this dress made of flowers from the wall, you'll smell like human fucking shit.
Yeah.
And that's it for you.
Yeah.
So you got to get out.
Yeah. At that point, we'd all be like, get out of there.
According to Deadline, Usher, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Julianne Hough will co-host CBS' new reality competition series, The Activist, in which activists will go head-to-head in challenges to promote their cause, which will be judged based on online engagement, social metrics, and the host input. I have a quote, a sneak preview of a very special moment in the series. Greta Thunberg, Shantae, you stay. I'm sorry, Malala. You inspired us with your fashion-forward climate change shoe line, but I'm sorry, my dear. You did not earn enough likes with your TikTok dance about Zika. Now, sashay away. We are recording this Thursday night. I will be very surprised to find out this show exists come Saturday morning when this show is released. I do not understand who got together and thought that we should do this fucking Black Mirror dystopian post-capitalist nightmare fucking TV show where desperate people trying to save lives dance for celebrities and musicians.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but I really think that TV executives are all suffering from like traumatic brain injuries. I don't know what is going on, but
too many Zoom pitches.
That is
it broke their brains.
That is a nightmare of a show. I can't.
I love it. I hope it happens. I hope it doesn't get canceled. I want this thing to exist in the world.
I mean, it might as well. You know what I mean? We've got 5-10 years max left. So why not? I mean, let's just really lean into our worst impulses. Let's just go with it.
Did no one know an activist that they could run this by?
Here's the thing. I bet you there's activists that are like, yeah, because they're trying to get their cause off the ground. And so when you say something to them like, hey, we're going to make a show, they don't know how horrible it is.
Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe I like it. Maybe I think everybody's wrong. Maybe I want to see the activist. Maybe I want to see people trying to stop climate change doing a play in 12 hours for a group of school kids, and then the school kids will vote who gets to be eliminated.
I think it's going to make us better.
That's the other thing about Cinderella, which is the song Million to One is fundamentally about becoming a celebrity. And she's like, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care about the haters. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I'm going to be famous. You're going to know my name, even if it's 1,000,000 to 1. There is no content to what she is going to do. A school shooter could sing that song in the shower.
Yeah.
Is a point that I shouldn't make.
100%.
100%.
No, you are so right. It is like we live in a crazy world where you have just terrorists building a brand. They're trying to white nationalist terrorists building a brand. I mean, the QAnon shaman is not a name.
It's one of the most important things we don't talk enough about. We live in a world where terrorists are trying to build a brand, and it's true. If you are singing a song about wanting to be 1 in a million, you are saying, I don't care about what happens to 1,000,000 people so that I get what I want. I would like a fairy tale where she sings, if it's 1,000,000 to 1, I'm going to kill the king, the prince, and any royalist left in this godforsaken country, establish a democracy, and do truth and reconciliation about the crimes that have against women that have taken place in this godforsaken village. I'm getting, by the way, I just want you to know something. Getting thumbs up snaps from Ari in the front row.
But so Jon,
I'm getting the youth.
Can I just say, none of that rhymes. That's a song. Fuck. Lyrically, it's all over the place.
Can I tell you something? This is a fundamental problem of drama, which is this. A lot of times the most dramatically satisfying stories are ethically questionable. For example, I do not think James Cameron was wrong to have Rose throw the diamond in the water at the end of Titanic, but she should have kept it, auctioned it, and used the money to help people. I'm not saying that the McAllister family returning to their son having defended the home in Home Alone wasn't the best dramatic ending. But in the reality, that is a movie about a boy preventing his family from having to pay the State Farm deductible for some flood damage and a few items being stolen.
That's a terrible movie. To your point. That is a terrible movie.
Home Alone, he leaves the house, the bandits leave, and then he just takes an inventory of what's missing to submit a claim.
Yeah, it's just an infomercial.
The trial of Elizabeth Holmes, disgraced co-founder of Theranos, finally began on Wednesday. Holmes has apparently pleaded not guilty.
I feel so hypocritical laughing at this with my voice. I just want to go on record.
No, she's just doing a voice.
People are like, is she on the show right now?
I met her once. She was really persuasive. I thought she was being railroaded. Oh, Hallie doesn't know that. Do you know that? Oh, that I met Elizabeth Holmes at a party, and we were I asked her, because I shouldn't be allowed at real places. I was like, oh my God, that Wall Street Journal story made it sound like your company is like really fucked. And she goes, it's all going to work out. It's bullshit. I've taken a lot of heat, but you'll see. Theranos is a great company doing great things. She was so persuasive. I was like, I told Ronan after, I was like, either she's a sociopath or she really is getting the shaft. And it turns out, sociopath.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing about sociopaths. They are charming.
Charming. They'll get you.
I mean, it's like sometimes you meet one and they look in your eyes and you're like, not guilty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, sure. 100%.
It's crazy.
Japan's Osaka University has successfully 3D printed the first lab-grown replica of the country's Wagyu steak, complete with marbled fat. But you know, the fat cartridge is going to run out before the beef cartridge. And then you're at Staples at 4 a.m. because you're getting no fat in the printout of the meat, and you need the fat. That stinks. I also hope they do 4D printed meat yet. This way, it's there for you when you're hungry yesterday. For no one. And finally, rapper Lil Uzi says fans ripped the $24 million pink diamond piercing out of his forehead during his concert at Rolling Loud. Don't worry, the rapper is fine, but his forehead, Lil Uzi.
Oh my God. Oh no. I love it.
Rosebud Baker, thank you so much. This was so much fun.